Selamat datang, I'm Elliot. Let's get to work. This is the fifth in a series of video presentations about Indonesian grammar. Grammatical registers. Registers. Indonesian uses different grammatical registers for different social contexts. Real-life Indonesian is often organized around a single register, but mixes in other registers. I posit that Indonesian has 4 grammatical registers. Meng register is the standard register. It's used in non-informal speech and writing. Formal register is used in literary contexts of polite society. Informal register is used in informal contexts such as talking to friends. Ng register is a slangy register that's used in informal contexts such as internet vernacular. I also call this register Bahasa Batavia because it's easier to say than register. Within each register is a regular verb form and a bare bones verb form. The bare bones form strips off mung and bur and is used in various contexts that favor brevity, such as commands, yang clauses, mock passive, news headlines, and so on. Here's a table that describes the interplay between grammatical registers, verb forms, and affixation. There are 4 grammatical registers: mung, formal, informal, ng. Each register has 4 verb types: regular intransitive, bare bones intransitive, regular transitive, bare bones transitive. For example, the mung register has bur, mung, and bare bones forms. Here's a tortured example. In English, I hope that you do not laugh at the Komodo dragon that I'm going to feed. In the mung register, saya mengharapkan Anda tidak tertawa komodo yang akan saya beri makan itu. The formal register was left out of the table because it closely resembles the mung register. Here, the point is that the different grammatical registers often differ with respect to several grammatical elements, including pronouns in their bound forms, so the subject saya aku gue, the object andu kamu lo, and the yang relative clause you have saya, ku, and gue. Words, for example, in the yang relative clause, akan and bakalan, or beri and kasih. Affixes, so in the mung register, mengharapkan, in the informal register, harapkan, and in Bahasa Batavia, narapin. And pronunciation, so harap becomes harep between the mung and the registers, and tidak becomes na. By contrast, sentence structure does not necessarily change. Mung register. In English, I hope that you do not laugh at the Komodo dragon that I'm going to feed. Saya mengharapkan Anda tidak tertawa komodo yang akan saya beri makan itu. The mung register is the standard register. It's used in non-informal speech and writing. Its hallmark is the use of mung forms of transitive verbs. Thus, the mung verb in the example above is mengharapkan. By contrast, the verb in the yang relative clause is not the regular form memberi, but instead the bare bones form beri. Here's a table that shows these 2 verb forms: regular intransitive, bur, and regular transitive, mung. Bare bones intransitive, just the base, bare bones transitive that strips off mung but leaves the suffixes in place if they are. Bare bones transitive verbs are often taken to the next level by combination with the bound first person, second person, singular subject pronouns ku or kau. For example, Komodo yang akan saya beri daging itu can be reworked as Komodo yang akan ku beri daging itu, the Komodo dragon that I'm going to feed. Here's an inventory for key contexts in which prefixes are stripped off of verbs. Meng stripping, but not burr stripping. In the informal register, for example, 1, Aku harapkan kamu tidak ke Pulau Komodo. I hope that you don't go to Komodo Island. Report verbs that follow quotes. Example 2, Jangan ganggu Komodo itu, kataku. Don't disturb the Komodo dragon, said I. Relative clauses with their own subject. 3a, Komodo yang saya ganggu itu, the Komodo dragon that I disturbed. Mock passive, Komodo itu, saya ganggu. The Komodo dragon is the one I'm disturbing. Relative clauses with their own subject and mock passive not only strip Meng off their verbs, but they also invert negations, preverb adverbs, and modal verbs, and use bound subject pronouns. So in example 3b, Komodo yang tidak akan ku ganggu itu, the Komodo dragon that I will not disturb. Example 4b, Komodo itu tidak akan ku ganggu. The Komodo dragon is the one I will not disturb. Examples where both Meng and burr are stripped. Commands with an intransitive verb or a transitive verb with a definite object. 5a, burr, lari becomes lari, run. 5b, mengganggu becomes jangan ganggu Komodo itu, don't disturb the Komodo dragon. Optional stripping with tidak usah or tidak perlu, no need to. Example 5c, tidak perlu menangis can be reworked as tidak perlu tangis, no need to cry. And succinct context, such as news headlines. Example 6, gagal kejar kucing, Komodo di Pulau Rinca, gigit kakek yang istirahat di kebun. Failing to catch cat, Komodo dragon bites elderly man resting in garden on Rinca Island. Formal register. The formal register is derived from the Meng register by replacing ordinary words with fancy words. Here are some key examples. Bisa becomes dapat. Perlu becomes membutuhkan. The formal register is primarily used in literary contexts. It also pops up in polite society, along with other extra polite elements in the context of commands and requests. These extra polite elements are described in the section below about the imperative mood. Informal register. In English, I hope you don't laugh at the Komodo dragon that I'm going to feed. Informal register, aku harapkan kamu tidak tertawa Komodo yang akan ku beri makan itu. The informal register is derived from the Meng register. The key difference is that informal register does not use Meng. Thus, in the example above, mengharapkan becomes harapkan. The example above also shows other key features of informal registers, such as the informal pronouns aku and kamu. Here's a table that compares the regular and bare bones verb forms of the informal register to the Meng register. The Meng form of the verb becomes the D prefixed form, but you leave the suffixes. Because the informal register strips Meng off of its transitive verbs, the bound subject pronouns ku, kau are common. For example, ku beri, in the example on the previous slide, aku harapkan kamu tidak tertawa Komodo yang akan ku beri makan itu. In addition, aku harapkan in the example could also be reworked as ku harapkan. The informal register also replaces ordinary words with informal words. Here are some key examples. Anda becomes kamu or kau, saya becomes aku. Mengapa, kenapa, waktu, ketika. The use of the informal register in the context of commands and requests is described in the section below about the imperative mood.